Welcome to the Math Review. This lesson is on multiplying whole numbers, but we're only focusing specifically on taking one three-digit number and multiplying it by another two-digit number. In order to be successful with this, you're going to have to follow these steps. But what we're going to do is we're going to look at number one together. I'll guide you through number one using these three rules. And then if you're comfortable, you can pause this video and then try this second question on your own. But before we answer this question, you should totally help us help you and others better. How? By smashing that like button. And if this video helps you go from what to oh, then hit subscribe and share this video with a student or classmate that needs to do that too. Now, without further ado, let's crush that question. So let's take a look at question number one. Here we've got 712 times 54. Step one says to write a line and line up all place values. So what we're going to do is we're going to take one number and put it on top of the other number. But what I recommend is taking the number that has less digits and putting it on the bottom. The reason why is because if we have a number with less digits on the bottom, then that means we're only going to have that number of lines of addition. So for example, this number here has 2 digits and this number here has 3 digits. The 2 digits here are 5 and 4 and the 3 digits here are 2, 1, and 7. Since this one has 2 digits, it's going to go on the bottom. And that means since there's 2 digits in that number, we're only going to have 2 lines of addition that we're going to need to do towards the last step. So let's write down 54. And know how I left a lot of space in between? The reason why is that's going to make sure that we're crystal clear when we place this number on top of it and everything is lined up nicely and neatly to make sure we get the right answer. So now we've got 54, now we have to place 712. But remember, rule 1 says that we have to write a line. So that means that we're not going to write it like this. This is absolutely incorrect. What we need to do is make sure that our rightmost digit, the 2, is on top of the rightmost digit here, the 4. So I'll put a 2 here, then the 1 will go on top of the 5, and there's no number here, so I'll just put the 7 up here by itself. Then I'll put my multiplication symbol, and now we can get to work. So let's go to rule number 2. We're going to multiply each digit in the bottom number by each digit in the top, starting from the right. So here's what that means. It's a little bit wordy, rule number 2. So let me try and explain. We've got 2 digits in the bottom number here, 5 and 4. We're going to start by multiplying the 4. But what are we doing exactly with that 4? Well, we're going to take this 4 here, and we're going to multiply each digit in the top number by that 4. So the first thing we'll multiply is 4 times 2. That'll give us 8. And I've got to make sure I line everything up perfectly. So here's my 8 here. Next, we've got 4 times 1. And that's 4. I'll put that in this column. And then I've got 4 times 7, which is 28. That's a 2-digit number. So I'll put the 8 down here. And if there was another number here, I would carry the 2 of 28. But since there isn't, I'll just put it in another column here by itself. So I finished multiplying everything on top by 4. So now I've got to take this 5 and multiply every number in the top by 5. But here's where it gets tricky. Remember when we multiplied by 4? We started by placing our answers under 4. Now, since we're multiplying by 5, we've got to start by putting our answers underneath the 5 down here. That means we've got to make sure we don't put anything here. So what you could do is place a 0. But what I like to do is I like to put an X. Because if we're dealing with a number that has lots and lots of zeros, that 0 placeholder might get a little bit confusing. I try to avoid that. So now I can start multiplying everything on top by 5. 5 times 2 is 10. That's a 2-digit number, and I can't put 2 digits in one column, so I'll bring down the 0 in 10 and carry the 1 to the next place value. Now I've got 5 times 1, which is 5, plus the 1 I carried, which is 6. Next, we've got 5 times 7, which is 35. I'll bring down the 5, and normally I would carry the 3 if I had another digit here, but since I don't, I'll just put it down here. So notice how I color-coded everything. Remember what I said before? We should put our smaller number, the one with less digits, on the bottom. Everything in this row represents what I got from multiplying by 4. And everything in this row, in pink, represents everything that I multiplied by 5. Now that I'm done with all of my multiplication, I'll put my plus sign here. So now I've got 8 plus nothing is 8. 4 plus 0 is 4. 8 plus 6 is 14. That's 2 digits. So I'll bring down the 4 and carry the 1. I've got 5 plus 2 is 7. Plus this 1 is 8. And 3 plus nothing is 3. So the final answer is 38,448. We could also say the product of 712 and 54 is 38,448. So what do you think of that problem? Easy? Hard? If you have any questions, don't forget you can leave them in the comments below. And if you're comfortable with it, remember you can pause the video and try the next question, number 2, on your own. So now let's go to the next question. We've got 63 times 938. That's a big number. So let's make sure we follow each of the rules. Rule number 1 is to write a line and line up all place values. But before we do that, remember, the better strategy is to make sure that you take the number with less digits and you place it in the bottom. So we've got 63, which has 2 digits, 6 and 3, and 938 has 3 digits, the 9, the 3, and the 8. So let's put 63 on the bottom. Remember to make sure you clearly separate your columns, that way you don't make any mistakes when you're doing your math. Now that I've got 63 here, now I can put 938. And remember, we don't put it like this. That is absolutely incorrect. We have to right align it. We'll put our 8 over the 3, our 3 over the 6, and the 9 over here by itself. Now that I have it all set up, I put my multiplication symbol, and I'm ready to go. Then we can go to rule 2, which is to make sure that we go to our bottom number, and we multiply each digit in the top number by that first digit in the bottom number. That means right now, I'm going to multiply everything by 3. So 3 times 8 is 24. So I'll bring down the 4 and carry the 2, since it's a 2-digit number. 3 times 3 is 9, plus 2 is 11. So I'll bring down the 1 and I'll carry the other 1. Then we've got 3 times 9, which is 27, plus this 1 is 28. I'll bring down the 8, and since there's nowhere to carry it, I'll write the 2 in 28 right here. So I'm done multiplying everything by 3. Now we've got to take this 6 and multiply each number in the top by that 6. But I'm also going to make sure I do 2 things before I start. First, I'm going to make sure that I get rid of anything I carried, because I don't want to confuse anything I carried before with anything I carry now. And the second thing is I'm going to make sure that I want to start placing my numbers under this 6, which means that I'm going to have to put a placeholder here. Remember, you can put a 0, but I like to put an X there. And now we can start. 6 times 8 is 48. I'll bring down the 8, and I'll carry a 4. See why it's so important to cross this off? If I didn't cross it off, I might be confused as to which one I'll add, the 2 or the 4. So that's why that's such an important step, to cross off everything you carried. Now we've got 6 times 3. That's 18. Plus 4 is 22. I'll bring down the 2 here, and then I'll carry the other 2. Now we've got 6 times 9, which is 54. Plus 2 is 56. I'll bring down the 6, and normally I carry the 5 in 56, but there's nowhere to carry it to, so I'll write the 5 here. Now since I'm done multiplying everything on top by 6, I'm officially done. So I'll put a plus sign here, and then I'm good to go. 4 plus nothing is 4. 8 plus 1 is 9. 8 plus 2 is 10. I'll bring down the 0 and carry the 1, because remember, that's a 2-digit number, and I can't put 2 digits in one column. Never do that. Now we've got 6 plus 2 is 8, plus this 1 I carried is 9. And 5 plus nothing is just 5. Which means our final answer is 59,094. We could also say the product of 63 and 938 is 59,094. So how'd you do with question 2? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to check out our other videos. Thanks for watching.